Hi, my name's Brad Asu. I'm from the Cape Mudge Band. I'm just going to briefly give you kind of an introduction on charts and things to look for and stuff while you guys are on your trip up to this way. So basically looking at the chart, one thing is you want to do is get the proper charts for your trip. And I always refer to it as a passage plan. And one of the places that you can find the chart number is in the Notice to Mariners. They've got the numbers of the charts and the area that you're going to be going to. So to give you an idea, there's charts that are very further out, so they're not as detailed. Like this one here, it shows a little bit more detail in place. Now to do, just to show some characteristics of the chart, up here you have the name of the location of the chart and the number you see down on the two corners as well. Now to give you an idea how you do your course is basically you've got this rows here that you've got the numbers on from 1 to 360, and basically you just follow that. Okay, so things to look at a chart that shows you is also, like I was mentioning, is the depth, as well as it's indicated the current. If we look on this one, the arrow with the, like I would refer to as the little feathers, is indicating the flood direction. And the other arrow right beside it on this one here is indicating the ebb direction. And as well as you'll see a number beside the arrow which indicates the max tide at that location. So this one here in particular, it's 7 knots. Okay, another thing to look at when you're looking at the charts is list of lights, buoys, and fog signals. Now, on this particular book, it actually goes in order of sequence from different locations. Like this one's got the west coast of Vancouver Island. So if you've got this open, as you travel along, you will pass, obviously, each place along the way. So you'll see the lights also on the charts. It gives you a good indication where you are. Now, for measuring on the chart, you don't measure top, bottom of the chart. For your nautical miles is where you measure, is on either side. And basically to give you an idea of, like say if your boat does 4 knots, in 1 hour you will cover 4 nautical miles at that time. And if your boat does 10 knots, it will cover 10 nautical miles at that time. So I won't go into any mathematical part just to confuse you, but basically that'd be the simplest way of explaining it. Okay, because during your voyage you will be traveling along, the one thing I always do is leave the VHF radio on channel 16, which is our the emergency channel, and channel 71 in this area, which is Victoria. Just to give you kind of a little bit knowledge on the buoy system. So basically when you're heading up a channel or into a bay, the green light you always keep on your port hand, which is your left side of your boat. So to give you an idea, when you head into Kwathiaski Cove, the green light will be located there. And when you're heading in north direction to head up to the Narrows, up at Race Point, there'll be a green light on your left-hand side. So I'm going to just briefly talk about the Seymour Narrows tide area and the Canberra River area. Now one thing, obviously, because it's such a narrow area, it is quite strong tides there. Now to give you a brief outlook on a tide book, you just go to the area, which is Seymour Narrows, the month and the day. I just picked August 1st. So to give you an idea, in the tide book it says 0622 is the time. but because of daylight saving time, you add an hour to the time that you're going to be going through. So it's actually the start of the flood at Seymour Narrows is at 0722, and that it also indicates on another column the max, which is also indicated at 9:38, which is actually because of the time change, 10:38, and just to the right of it gives the max of the tide, which at that particular time it's flooding at 8.0 knots. Okay, and as well as it indicates when a tide changes, which is at 13:14, but it also, you got to change the time again, which is 14:14. Now in Canberra River, just to give you kind of a idea of how much of a difference of the tide is, so basically from Seymour Narrows to Canberra River, like I was saying before, is approximately 7 nautical miles away. That tide starts flooding at 0822, which is basically an hour difference. And the difference between that, it doesn't give you the max. What it does, it gives you the height condition. So it's 5.6 feet at start of the flood. Then at high water at 15:05, it'll be 11.2 feet, which is also indicated in the tide book. The best information is obviously the time that the tide actually changes, because it's best probably just to go through just before the tide changes, because that's the slackest and probably the safest times for you guys to go through the Seymour Narrows. Well, I just want to wish you guys all a safe journey, and we'll see you up in Canberra River this summer.